So what I was saying is, without without prior registration of the RERA project, you cannot start any project in any city in the part of the country. So any project has to be started. You will first have to do a prior registration, and then only the real estate project can be commenced with. Now, what it also says is the promoter shall not advertise, market, book, sell, offer for sale, or invite persons to purchase any manor, any plot, apartment, or building without registering the real estate project. Now, again, you cannot even put pamphlets, you cannot even distribute or advertise your new location until and unless you have applied for the RERA thing. You cannot even put up an offer. You cannot promote it. You can do nothing without registering yourself and as per the under the RERA with the RERA authority. So you need to get that RERA number. Using that number, you need to promote it in your all your marketing, all your advertisements, all your offer letter, offer for sale. Everything should have that RERA number. The project that are ongoing on the date of commencement of the act for which the completion certificate has not been issued, the promoter shall make the application to the authority for registering the product within 3 months. So basically, if as on the date of the commencement, so this had come pretty long back, so this is not relevant, but whoever's project had received a compliance had not received a completion certificate, they will also have to register under the RERA within 3 months of the commencement of the act. So basically, there are two people who have to register: one before starting any project, and two as on the date of commencement within 3 months. If you've not received the completion certificate, you have to apply for the RERA number. Now, what are the projects that are exempt? What are the projects that are exempted from the act? So for whom this act, the registration is not applicable. So there are 3 cases for which the registration is not applicable. 1, area of the land does not exceed 500 square meters, or number of apartments does not exceed 8. So if the number of apartments does not exceed 8 and the land does not exceed 500 square meters, then you do not have to register with the RERA. Now, the promoter has received a completion certificate for the real estate project prior to the commencement of the act. Now, for a particular project, we saw what is a completion certificate. Completion certificate is nothing but once the project has been completed, the authorities will check everything and will give a completion certificate. Now, if the project has received a completion certificate as on the date of commencement of this act, then you need not apply for a RERA number. And the third one is in case of renovation, repair, and redevelopment. Now, for the purpose of renovation, repair, or redevelopment, which does not involve marketing, advertisement, selling, or new allotment of any apartment, plot, or building, then you do not have to apply for a RERA number. So basically, if so many of the apartments will have phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, things like that. So if you are looking at phase 1, and if you're doing any renovation work, or you're doing any repair work, say the clubhouse is leaking or the park is getting flooded, then you repair it. And sometimes you do a redevelopment also. Say in a particular area there is a lot of flooding, so you cannot have a clubhouse. So that time you decide to make that particular area as a park. Then what do you have to do? You do not have to apply for a RERA. Now, if phase 1, now you're going to start a phase 2 in the similar area. Now, if you're going to start a phase 2, you are going to sell apartments, you are going to sell the plots. So then it is a fresh allotment. So you need to apply for a fresh RERA registration number for that particular case. So 3 exemptions: if it's 500 square meters, if the apartment does not exceed 8, if the promoter has received a completion certificate as on the commencement of the act, and if it's a renovation, redevelopment, or repair, you do not require a RERA number. Any doubts?
It is 8 apartments, for example, if it is some 1,000 meters, is it exempt or not?
No, so area of the land does not exceed 500 square meters.
Or it says, no?
Or number of apartments does not exceed 8. So if it exceeds 8 and if the area, that is okay. That is fine.
So if the area is more than 500, it's fine.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Old syllabus. It's not the new syllabus. Okay, there are 3 steps for registration of the real estate project. So once you decide on registering a real estate project, there are 3 steps. So first one is you have to file an RERA application with the RERA and the prescribed form and fees. So we saw the website. So you'll have to give certain documents on the RERA website in the particular format with paying a fees. Now, application for registering will either be approved or rejected within a period of 30 days. Within a period of 30 days from the date of application. And step 3, on successful registration, the promoter of the project will be provided with a registering number, a login ID, and a password for the applicant. So, login ID password is for the RERA website. The promoter will also get a login ID and password for that particular project. And you will get a RERA number. We saw what a RERA number is in the last class. So each project will have a separate RERA number. Now, up to now, whatever we've seen, what do you think are the documents that are required for registering for a RERA number? What do you all think? What documents are required? So if you're applying, just think that you're applying for a RERA number, what are the documents you think you will have to submit?
Property documents, ma'am?
In detail? Can you tell in detail?
Like land papers, land documents.
But the property will be in your name already.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically details of the land on how much is the square feet, how much is what is facing, north facing, west facing, east facing, south facing. Details about the land. What else?
I'm building land plan like area plan, no, ma'am?
Let's say the project plan.
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. Anybody else? What else do you all think should be submitted?
The estimates of the project and sale price that is going to be received.
Yes, details of the payment. Yes, details of the payment of the properties. See there.
Location of the project, no, ma'am?
Location of the project. Yes.
And a proper layout plan of the
Layout plan. Yes.
and the names and addresses of the contractors.
Name and addresses, that will probably be a little bit later on only, because at that when you're applying you might not know who you're going to employ. What are the documents that have to be submitted? You might not remember always the points, but if you think and write, even if you write it in your own words, it'll help you to list out the names. So you have A to L in your textbook. So we'll see one by one. So certain questions like what are the documents, and what are the functions, what is the responsibilities, all that you cannot by heart all the points. So that time you will just have to think what all point comes to your mind, you can write it down. So you don't have to write it word by word, same wordings, but you should at least try to write whatever is there in the textbook. So the first thing is, first you need to mention the name of the enterprise, so its company. If it is a prestige, so it will be prestige name, it will be the name of the company, it will be the registered address, it will be what it's a company, promoter, partnership, all of that will have to be given. The names and photographs of the directors, all of that will have to be given details in the application form. Now, second, what are the projects that have been launched in the last 5 years, whether it is in construction or completed, you will have to give those details. And if it is still under construction, you will also have to give the status of such projects. Now, you will also have to give the documentations regarding that particular project. So in the last 5 years, whatever projects you have launched, you will have to give approvals and certifications for that project. Now, a sanction plan, layout plan for the proposed project, you will have to give. What are the details of electricity, water facilities, drink emergency evacuation, all of that will have to be mentioned. Location details with the boundaries will have to be mentioned. So if you all would have seen property papers, it will be like north facing this, not facing, say, one more apartment, east facing the road, again south facing another apartment. All those details, including the longitude, latitude, will have to be mentioned. Then the allotment letter on what sale documents that you have prepared. Sale documents would include the amount the amount that is that you will be getting from the public. All of that will be mentioned. So basically, allotment letter, agreement of sale, convenience deed, what is going to be signed with the allottees, that document you will have to give in. Again, number of areas, any real estate names and address of real estate agents. If you have already decided of your plan, structural engineer, all of that will have to be mentioned. And a declaration which shall be signed by the promoter that he has the legal title of the land. The land is free of encumbrance. Encumbrance, I told you last class, it's encumbrance means any other taxes or any duties that have to be paid which has not been paid. That land will be free of any encumbrance. And then the time it takes to complete the project will have to be mentioned, and 70% of the amounts realized for the real estate project from the allottees will have to be deposited in a separate bank account. So all are these documentations and affidavit that has to be given by the promoter while submitting for the RERA application number. Okay, going forward is granting of the registration by the authority. Now, this is nothing but the RERA number that we saw. Now, once the application has been submitted, within 30 days, you will get a grant registration or you will get a rejection of registration. Now, a login ID and a password will be given for each proposed project, where he'll have to go and fill in the required details. Now, if it is rejected, if the authority fails to grant the registration or rejects the application, as the may be, the project shall be deemed to have been registered, and the authority shall, within a period of 7 days of the expiry of the said period of 30 days specified. So if the authority does not approve it or does not reject it within the period of 30 days, within 37 days, then it will be deemed to be approved. the registration grant shall be valid for a period for the completion of the project. So if the project is for 3 years, the RERA number will be valid for 3 years. Any doubt? Anybody?
No, no.
Okay, moving ahead. Now, there is a concept of extension of registration also. Now, sometimes what happens is if the project, if the promoter is not able to complete the project, say if he submitted saying that within 3 years the project will be completed, if he does not complete it within 3 years for a specific reason, so basically for a force majeure, force majeure is nothing but shall mean a case of war, flood, drought, fire, cyclone, earthquake, any other calamities that happens without the mistake of the promoter. So nothing is in the hand of the promoter. So if you all would have seen movie Oh My God, the part 1, it is entirely on the force majeure because there was an earthquake, a case was filed. So in case of force majeure also, if the project has not been completed, then extension will be given, not exceeding for a period of 1 year. So 1 year extension will be given only in the cases of force majeure. Otherwise, it will not be given. Now, I'm just giving you an example. During the time of COVID was considered as a force majeure. Yes or no? What do you all think?
Yes, ma'am. Of course.
Yes, so COVID was considered as a force majeure. Though everybody was working from home, it was still considered as one of the force measures. So after COVID, what happens was all the agreements that came into existence, whether they are new agreements, old agreements, everything. Now, if you look at an agreement, they will also mention COVID. When we say case of war, flood, drought, fire, they will also mention COVID because that situation had become such kind that also was considered as a force majeure. Now, this extension will be given for not exceeding for a period of 1 year. So, any projects during the time of COVID that couldn't have been completed because of for whatever reason, they would have got an extension period of 1 year. Now, what happens if revocation of registration? Now, what is revocation? What is revocation?
Cancellation.
What is revocation?
Cancellation.
Cancellation. Yes. Cancellation of the registration. Now, what happens now? Who has the right to cancel is none other than the authority has a right to cancel the RERA registration that they have given to any promoter. Now, why do they come up with this cancellation? One is the promoter will make any default. Say they have not, they have violated some provisions of the act. Then the RERA authorities has a right to revoke it. Violates terms and conditions of the approval. Now, when they are giving an approval, they will give certain terms and conditions. If they violate anything of that, registration can be revoked. Unfair practice or irregularities. Now, they have taken an approval for, say, 2 BHK for a particular apartment and they build a 3 BHK. Then it is, not a correct thing. And then on the terrace, G+3, but then they went ahead and they built a G+4. That is also irregularity. So what you have submitted and what is actually on the ground is completely different. So that's why you can revoke the license. And any other fraudulent practices, that you're giving me low quality mud, low quality bricks you've bought, from a very cheap quality that can break down your building, all of that. If there's any fraudulent practices also, then revocation for registration will be done. Once the once the registration has been revoked, what do you all think is the consequence? What will happen if the registration is revoked? So registration is cancelled during the period of construction. So if 3 years, if I've taken the registration, now say 1.5 years, the authority comes to know that this particular promoter has been violated any of the terms and conditions, then they revoke it. What happens when the registration is revoked?
To compensate to the person who's taken.
Manu, your voice is not audible. It's very low. Not able to hear you.
The promoter should compensate to the agreement person that he has made at the time of agreement, whatever the losses.
This is before completion. So losses comes only after completion if he's not completed on time. But this is during the process of the completion. So basically the building is still under construction. What do you think will happen if the registration is cancelled? Anybody?
They will not be able to book further.
They'll not be able to book further, but the apartments are already say full. Booking has been done fully. Then what happens?
Construction will be stopped at the middle of
If the construction is stopped, then it is the loss for the owners, right? And the RERA Act supports consumers. Then what? Okay, let's see. Now, what happens is if the registration has been revoked, then they debar the promoter from accessing the website regarding the project. And basically, that website, last time we saw, all the details will come. That particular website, that username and password we saw, that one will not be accessible for the particular thing. And second one is any remaining development work. So if the project is under construction, that project, the authority will themselves overview that the construction development work, whatever is remaining, will be completed as per the required provision. So the authority will make sure they overlook this development work. Third one, direct the bank holding the project bank account to freeze the account. Basically is only so whatever the bank account that they will be in the beginning we saw the opening of a bank account, details of that, they'll have to deposit an amount, that particular, and that amount will have to be used for that project only. So they will freeze that particular bank account. And if in case for redevelopment, if the money has to go, they will defreeze it, and only that much amount which has to be transferred for redevelopment, that amount only will be allowed to transfer. And to protect the interest of the allottees, any other direction which whatever they feel right, they will give. So this is what will happen upon revocation of the registration of the RERA. Now, 30 days notice should be given in writing for if you want to revoke anybody's license. Again, the authority will will give a notice in writing and will make sure that the opposite party has been heard. So whatever terms and conditions that has to be completed, it will be completed. They will discuss. The promoter will be given an opportunity to be heard before they cancel the registration. So if the authorities are convinced that this particular promoter has accepted their mistake and they promise to complete the remaining project as per the terms and conditions, then they will not cancel the registration. Okay, next is now obligations of authority, consequence upon lapse of or revocation of registration. Now, what happens? Revocation of registration has been lapsed, so they revoke a registration, and what happens after it? Now, the authority may consult the appropriate government to take action, including carrying out the remaining development works by the competent authority, by the association of allottees, in any manner as determined by the authority. The direction, decision, or order the authority shall not take effect until the expiry period of the appeal provided under the provisions of the Act. In case revocation of registering of a project under the Act, the Association of Allottees shall have the first right of refusal for carrying out the remaining development work. Now, what happens is the time frame has been completed, revocation license has been done. The appropriate authority will consult the government and say that, see, this particular work, nothing is going ahead. We are not giving the project to the promoter anymore. We need to complete the project. So what happens is the appropriate government will agree for redevelopment of a project. Now, who will take responsibility of completion of the project is none other than the Association of Allottees. Now, each apartment will have their own own association that has been registered. It's RWA. I'll tell you the resident welfare association that will usually that is registered after the commencement certificate, after the apartment has given a complete handover of the building to the residents. Then a formation of a residents association will be formed. Now, if the revocation of registration, all this happens before that, this particular this association will have the first right to redevelop the project, or if they want to cancel the redevelopment also, they will have the first right for cancelling of the redevelopment work also. Any doubts?
No, ma'am.
Okay, let's. So, real estate agent should also register under the RERA. So, we saw that the promoters will have to register themselves, but the real estate agents will also have to register themselves. Now, why they will have to register? It's because of transparency and accountability. They are also covered under the RERA. Now, they will also have a registration number, whatever. If you want to act as a real estate agent, you need to apply for a registration number. Now, without obtaining the registration, you cannot do any sale, purchase of on behalf of anybody, or you cannot do in for any plot, apartment, or building. Again, you should pay the set of fees, and you will have to give a document. You'll have to give documentations for your registration. Now, if you will require, if you are applying for it, you will get a single registration for the agent for the entire state or union territory. So if you are registering in Karnataka, if you want to sell a property in Karnataka, you have a RERA registration number for yourself in the state of Karnataka. Maharashtra will have a different state. Now, if your application has been rejected, it will be recorded the reasons they have cancelled your registration. Now, if they do not approve or reject within 1 second, the number of days have been mentioned. They have not mentioned the number of prescribed time. Okay, they have just mentioned prescribed time. So if they have not rejected or not approved it, you have been deemed to be registered. Okay. Okay. What are the functions of a real estate agent? Now, you know what a real estate agent is. You know what a real estate agent will do. Now, what are the functions of a real estate agent? What do you all think is the function of a real estate agent? In the exam, the question will come, what are the functions of a real estate agent? Then what will you all write? Anybody?
Marketing for the project.
Marketing for the project, yes.
Mediator.
What?
Mediator. Seller.
Marketing for the project, marketing for the product, yes. Should they maintain accounts? Any records that they have to maintain? Any documentations required?
And documents of the project.
Documents of the project, yes. If there's any books of accounts where you have taken any advance and you have to give it your commissions, how much commissions you received for the project, from whom, all books of accounts will have to be maintained. You will have to maintain particular specific project documents, records, all of that. You will also have to make sure you do not practice any fair trade, unfair trade practices. So you will also have to follow that. And whatever you are mentioning, whatever statements you are mentioning orally or whether in writing, it has to be true and fair. It has to be true and fair. For whatever is the truth, you will have to mention that you cannot false represent anything of the project. Now, representing the promoter or himself has approval. So if you are an agent, you need to get approval that you are representing on behalf of the promoter. Now, you've got various agents like say Prop Tiger. Now, Prop Tiger will have to take permission from Prestige to market Prestige apartments as an agent. So basically, Prop Tiger will take permission from Prestige saying that I want to market this particular project. Will you give permission? And then they will tell yes. That's when you can go ahead and advertise and market. Now, whatever commission you get from both the sides, you will also have to maintain books of accounts. Now, permitting the publications of advertisement, as we said, any newspaper advertisement, all of that, you want to do it, you can do it. But you should do it as a real estate agent. Every real estate agent shall facilitate the possession of all information and documents as the allottee is entitled at the time of booking of any plot, apartment, building. Now, all the documentations from the beginning to the end, the agent helps them out to have the entire completion. So, from looking at the property to signing off the final agreement, everything is handled by the agent. Now, now we saw the functions of the real estate agent. Now, what do you all think is the functions of the promoter? Now, promoter is none other than the company. Now, what is the functions of the promoter? What What do you think of the what do you think the promoter does? The promoter is the company. Say Prestige. So, what is Prestige's functions? Anybody?
You need to maintain the books of accounts.
Manu, you'll have to be a little loud. You're not audible.
Complete the project on time.
Complete the project on time, yes. Anything? Anybody else? Any other points?
They should be up to date with the project dates.
Step by step completion of the project should be up to date. Let's put it that way. What else? Anybody else? What? No, you are not audible. There's too much of disturbance. Anybody else? What is the function of a promoter? Okay, the promoter will be responsible for acting whatever they have mentioned as per the agreement of sale. He will have to follow the agreement of sale. So that's the first thing. So he will be responsible of all obligations as per the allotment of sale. Then it will be the responsibility of the promoter to apply for the completion certificate or the occupancy certificate or both. So we saw what is a completion certificate, what is an occupancy certificate. Now it is the responsibility of the promoter to obtain both these certificates and give it to the allottee. Again, if there's any leasehold, any charges due for the leasehold, all that is responsibility is of the promoter. Now, essential services of the project like maintenance or completing your garden area, completing the clubhouse facility, completing everything before handing the project to the allottees, to the association of allottees, will be the responsibility of the promoter. So basic essential services like your electricity, your lift maintenance, all that will have to be completed completely before you hand over the final project. Now, you will also have to help with the formation of the residents welfare association. So without the support of the promoter, the residents cannot apply for a registration. So they will have to support the registration for the apartment for each project. It'll be the responsibility of the it'll be the responsibility of the promoter to register the sale deed. So though you pay for it, but it is a responsibility of the promoter to make sure the sale deed is registered with the authority. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . Now, the other thing is any electricity, any water charges, any taxes that have been due till completion till the occupancy, not occupancy, till the final possession, physical possession of the apartment, till then. So basically, if the apartment is completed in January, but I've taken possession only in the month of July, so any taxes due and the construction work was happening for 3 years, so any taxes due in the last 3 years will have to be paid by the promoter. Any electricity bill, any water bill for that particular apartment will have to be paid by the promoter. Now, only when the physical possession has been handed over. So, from June onwards, I've taken the possession. From then onwards, I will be responsible to pay the taxes, electricity bill, water bill, all of that. But till then, it is the promoter's responsibility to pay. Okay, and yeah, so those are the functions of the promoter. Now, what happens is the other main thing is whatever the sanction plan is, whatever the layout plan is, it's the promoter's responsibility to follow it. You shouldn't deviate anything from the approved sanction plan or layout plan. So if you've told clubhouse has to be here, clubhouse will have to be constructed there. So it's the responsibility of the promoter to maintain the maintain the sanction plan. Now again, we kept talking about a website. We kept talking about a login ID and password that the promoter receives. Promoter's responsibility is go on the website. You will have to fill up all the details. So basically, this website is whatever login ID password you get, you have to submit all the details and that will be viewed by the public. So if you want to buy a particular property in Whitefield, if you go to the RERA website and if you put the RERA registration number, you will get all the details of the property. All that details is keyed in by the promoter. So the details of registration, any quarterly updates of the apartments, how many apartments are booked, quarterly updates will have to be mentioned on the website. Quarterly updates on the garages booked. So basically apartments come with parking lot also, but for certain cases where the garages are separate, you will also have to mention that. Any approvals taken, any pending, any commencement certificate received, any other certifications received, all that will have to be mentioned on the website quarterly basis. You will also have to submit the status of the project or any other information as a regulatory may be fit. So all this will every quarter the promoter will have to go to the website and given the information. So if you have bought an apartment, say in Whitefield, and if you go to that particular website of the promoter, you will get the project details, you will get quarterly status update, what certifications have been received, everything will be mentioned on the website because it is the responsibility of the promoter to go to the website and update these details for us to view. Anyone's got any doubt? Anybody?
Understood.
Okay. No deposit or advance to be taken by promoter without first entering the agreement of sale. So usually what happens is when you're buying an apartment, they usually tell at the time of signing an agreement, you need 10% of down payment you will have to pay. Now that 10%, you cannot take that particular 10% without entering into agreement of sale. So you need to sign the agreement and then only you can take the 10% of the agreement of the apartment. You will have to follow the sanction plan. You will have to adhere to the project specifications. Whatever has been mentioned, you will have to follow that by the promoter. Now, in case if there's minor additions, alterations or something that can be done, you do not require any approval. But in case if there's any major anything, then you will have to take the approval first before you go ahead with the construction work. Okay. The next is duties of the allottees. Now, who is an allottee? I'm an allottee. If I'm buying an apartment, say the promoter, say Nitish Estates had come out with an apartment in Whitefield, and I applied for it, and I finished paying my down payment, and I finished signing my agreement of sale. Now, what are my responsibilities? So, what are the rights and duties of an allottee? So, if you are buying a property, what is your responsibility? What are your duties? What is your responsibility if you're buying an apartment? Registration, yes.
Make the payment as per the schedule.
Make the payment as per the schedule. What happens if you have not paid? You will have to pay interest also. So it will be your responsibility to pay interest also if you've not paid the amount. Next.
Follow
What-
the rules and regulations
What rules and regulations?
like apartment that were made.
That is later on. Now it is just the this is before the getting the property. Anybody?
With like local panchayat, whether they have legally constructed.
That the authorities, when they are checking, when you're applying for RERA number itself, all the registration documents, everything will be uploaded. So you don't have to individually check everything. You just have to go to the website. You'll get everything, all the details. So basically, the first thing is you need to pay the amount. Whatever payment is pending, you need to pay for it, and you need to pay the interest if you've delayed any paying. You will also have to you have the right of getting the sanction plan, any certifications, layout details, any commencement certificate copy, completion certificate copy, all of that, any local certification copies, whatever the whatever the builder has received, you are entitled to receive that as a copy. It is your duty to get it as a copy. Then any stage wise, any development, you have the right to know what is happening based on the time and schedule. So they have a time and schedule, so you are entitled to that particular time and schedule. Then once the apartment has been completed, it is your responsibility to take possession of the apartment. So now say 6 months over, 1 year is over, 2 years over, you've still not taken an apartment, they'll sell it off to someone else. You have signed an agreement of sale. It is your responsibility to take possession of the area of your building. Now, if any compensation is there or any refund is there, as per RERA, they've not completed on time, and you are entitled to any compensation. You have a right to receive that particular compensation also. Then. Now, at the time of completion, you will have to register for the registered association, welfare association. So it is your right and your duty to take part of it in registering. So basically, at the time of registration, you have to sign a document saying you support the registration of the residents association. So you will have to sign these documents and submit it to the promoter. so that they in turn get submitted to the authority that this all. So if there are 900 apartments, all the 900 apartments will have to agree that they are okay with the registration of the association for the particular society. So you have so every allottee shall take physical possession of the apartment within 2 months of the occupancy certificate. So you have time for 2 months for occupancy certificate. Again, it is your responsibility to make sure you have registered the apartment, got the apartment registered. It is your duty to ensure the apartment has been registered. So those are the rights and duties of the allottee. So if you're buying an apartment, what are your rights? Is what we just saw. Anyone's got any doubt so far of whatever we've done? Okay, let's move ahead. There is an establishment and incorporation of a real estate regulatory authority. So there is an authority called the Real Estate Regulatory Authority. Now, who establishes that authority is the appropriate government. Now, whatever function has to be performed, it will be mentioned by the appropriate government. So there is this Real Estate Regulatory Authority. Now, this authority will consist of a chairman and not less than 2 full-time members will be appointed by the appropriate government. So basically, you'll have one chairman and you'll have at least 2 full-time members. Now, there are some qualifications that have been mentioned. You can read the qualifications. The chairman and members, the term for this particular thing is not exceeding 5 years. So everybody, whoever is appointed as a chairman and a member, they have a period 5 years. And 5 years from the time they enter the office or at the age of 65 years, whichever is earlier. So basically, if you're appointed at the age of 63 and your 5 years has not been completed, you will have to retire, and you will not be eligible. And after completion of 5 years, you will not be eligible for reappointment. Now, what happens is whenever anybody, as a consumer, if I have any issue, I will approach the Real Estate Regulatory Authority for helping out with the particular issue. Okay, so that is the now. Okay. So the basic functions of so there are functions of authority for promotion of real estate sector. So basically, there are points in your textbook like protection of interest of the allottees, creation of a single window system for ensuring time-bound projects approval clearance, creation of transparency, robust grievance mechanism, encourage investment in real estate sector, encourage construction work of environmental sustainable affording housing, promotion of affordable housing, measures to encourage grading of projects, facilitate amicable collision of disputes between the promoter and the allottees, digitalization of the land records, advice to appropriate government, and any other functions as may be required. So there are 2 particular functions which have been mentioned in your textbook. So there are 2 sections, there are 2 separate sections. Function for authority for promotion of real estate is section 32, and functions for authority is section 34. Section 34. Both are these functions are 2 different. One is promotion of real estate sector. So if the question comes saying what is the functions of the authority for promotion of real estate sector, you will have to mention all the give transparency, give this, give that, try to get funding, foreign funding, all of that will come under the promotion of real estate sector. Now, functions of authority is separate. Now, what are those functions? It is for register and regulate real estate projects and real estate agents. So basically, if anybody applies, this particular authority has a right to give the number, and even for project and for real estate agents. Second one, maintain a website. Now we spoke about a website, so it is the responsibility of the authority to maintain the website. Again, database for all the public viewing to make sure. So there are some documents which have been submitted at the time of registering. The authority's responsibility is to update all of that database on the website of the company. Again, you have basic on if there is any dispute between the promoter and the allottees or the real estate agents based on the area jurisdiction, they will have to kind of resolve the issue among the allottees, promoters, and the real estate agents. So basically, whatever is the act says, they will have to follow that. They will have to ensure that it has been followed. Now, there are acts, there are regulations, there are notifications. All of that will have to be completed, will have to be monitored by the real estate regulatory authority. So there are two separate functions. One is for promotion and one is the normal whatever they have to do. Anyone's got any doubt? Can we move ahead?
Yes.
Okay. Now the authority also has the power to call for information, conduct investigation, all of that. Say in case if they get any allottee in writing, if they give a complaint, then it is the responsibility of the RERA to call up the promoter, give notices, ask them for information, whether it is for submission of document or books of accounts, any documentation. If you want to summon anybody for examination, any witnesses or anything, whatever complaint that they have received, they have to investigate it before they revoke the registration. To go to that extent, they will have to do an investigation and ask for information. So they also have the right, they have the power to call for information and conduct investigation. Okay, so there are some responsibilities of the regulatory authority. Registration of the real estate agent, we saw that. Extension of registration of the real estate project and the revocation. So if there's any force measure, they have the right to extend it, and any revocation, they have the right to revoke it. Renewal of registration of the real estate agent and its revocation. Now for an agent also, if they have to renew the registration, it is a responsibility of the regulatory authority. Maintain a website. We saw what a website is. Appoint one or more adjudication officers. Any officers for any complaints, they will have to appoint. So it is the regulatory authority's responsibility. Notify regulations. So in case there's any change in the act notification, they will have to update. And recommendation for growth and promotion of healthy, transparent real estate sector. So basically, overall responsibility is to promote real estate sector.